everybody. Welcome back to Unscripted Violence Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Stagger Lee. We are very happy to have a guest who is actually a manager, which wanted to get a manager on the show for a couple of times. Reverend Dan Wilson, who has a gimmick that's quite unique. And tell us about how you got started in pro wrestling in the first place.
Oh, dude, that's a long story, but I'll try to make it brief. So,
Okay.
I've been in the wrestling business since 1999. I actually started as an announcer. Prior to that, I had like a little bit of exposure to it because the wrestling legend Gypsy Joe was my great uncle by marriage. So he was kind of around my family a lot. Especially like during big family events and holidays and stuff, I would see him occasionally. And I didn't really like know him super well when I was a kid, but like he was this kind of mythical being in our family because he would show up and he would be tan and jacked up and have scars all over his head. And he was just like the coolest fucking dude. So like that kind of was like, what is this wrestling stuff? Because of him. And of course, I grew up in the 80s, like watching, fucking WrestleMania and WWF and like everybody who lived in that time did. And it lived through the ECW in my teens in the 90s and the Attitude Era as a fan. And pretty soon after high school, like almost immediately, I got in the wrestling business. When I graduated, I was probably 19, maybe 18, going on 19 when I first started. And I started as a ring announcer. Started on some very small shows. Like one was in a nursing home parking lot. And it was just like this random show. And then another was a small show in Rossville, Georgia, where I got my start as a ring announcer. And from there, I started doing smaller shows around the Northeast Georgia, Southern Tennessee area as an announcer, and occasionally dabbling in the manager stuff then, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So it was, I wouldn't really consider that the start of my managerial career, but I did dabble in it a little even then. But around the fall of 2000, I got invited by some friends I had made at a show in Dalton, Georgia. Adam Jacobs and Air Paris, who some people might remember from the brief run there at the end of WCW, teaming with AJ Styles. They invited me to come down to NWA Wildside, which was like the show in Georgia down, it was actually closer to South Carolina, but it was about 75 miles away from Atlanta. And so as far as like magazine coverage and promotions doing cool stuff, like I even was aware of that just doing small shows up here. So of course I wanted to go, and I tried out there, and I got the job there as the ring announcer, which led to me becoming a commentator. And then I was the co-host of the TV show with former ECW announcer Stephen Prazak for 5 years until they closed down in 2005. During that time, I came up.
To Prazak, by the way.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to talk over you. Like I said, I'm just a wordy motherfucker. I will yap.
That's fine. We're cool here. We're cool here on Unscripted Violence. We're loose. We're not like those other podcasts.
Right on. Well, yeah, Prazak was the man. He was. I can talk about him briefly because I've got a lot of stories just from this time, like before I even became a manager, right? Like Prazak was one of the people. He helped teach me kind of the game of television announcing because I didn't fucking know like when you're supposed to throw a commercial or anything like that. And so we ended up having a good rapport, as a broadcast team and getting some pretty favorable reviews. We one year in one like independent website voted us the announce team of the year over like Jerry Ross and Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross one time. So I was like, okay, that was kind of cool.
Nice. Not hard to do at one point. At one point, they were just terrible.
Yeah, this was like in their peak, like in their prime era. So I was I thought it was pretty cool to be like, oh wow, fuck, just us little independent announcers are getting thought of by somebody in the same breath as the the top guys in the business. So that was cool. But Prazak also like introduced me to a lot of cool people in Atlanta. Just that were already in the business, like WCW and ECW guys, and was just always a very like giving and generous friend. And he helped me out a lot in the business up to that point. Bill Barons was the guy behind NWA Wildside, and he was, one of my early mentors in wrestling as well, and helped me out a lot there. The biggest thing I did in that time is I came up with AJ Styles' Phenomenal One nickname while I was on commentary. So that's like even beyond the Reverend stuff, which has been going on for 20 years now. That's probably when I croak going to be the thing that most people mention in the news article.
Nice. So, explain to people who don't know who you are, explain your character. I quite love it because I'm a black metal fan myself, and you come out with black metal makeup and do quite a good scream. How'd
Thank
you
you.
come up with that? Are you a black metal fan?
Yeah. So it's partially that and a whole lot more, right? So it's a good segue when you're talking about breaking in. Like Wildside ended in 2005, and I left wrestling for a while because we were going very hard during that time. We were considered one of the best independent companies in the world, and we were putting on a lot of events at a high level. We were involved kind of as like a side promotion to the early years of TNA, kind of feeding them talent and stuff. So it was a
Yeah,
lot. And I worked not
I
just as an
remember
announcer there,
that.
but I later got involved in booking and in the office and being on the creative team and stuff like that. So I just wanted a break from wrestling for a little bit. And I've always, of course, been a metalhead. So I played in metal bands like all through high school, even when I was in fucking middle school, going back that far. Um, and I was in a thrash metal band at this time called All But Destroyed, where I played bass for a while, and then our bass player left, and we got a new bass player, and I switched to vocals. We put out a little EP. We did a little small regional tour thing. Nothing major, but it was fun, and it was kind of popping off a little bit, but the other guys like had families and shit, so it was kind of starting to run its course with them. So just about that time, Tank of all people is like, "Hey, you ever thought about becoming a manager?" I was like, "Fucking yeah, only all the time." And so they came up with this. Wildside went out of business, but a new company took its place called NWA Anarchy, in the same building, had the same TV clearance, was just owned by
Yes,
somebody else.
I remember that
And
well.
that's where the Reverend debuted in 2005, in October of 2005. They did this big angle about there was this secret, sinister force that was trying to take over the company, and it was revealed to be me. And so, I mean, I couldn't just be an announcer anymore. And this is more who I really am. I'm much more the Reverend than I ever was Dan the Dragon Wilson. So, um, I come up with this character, and it's a little bit influenced by black metal and a little bit influenced King Diamond, Kiss, Guar,
Yeah.
the Crypt Keeper. Like fuck it, there's a lot of influences in the Reverend. Even like my grandpa, who rest his soul, man. Like he, like some of the little country phrases and shit that I will pop off with, they came from him, and stuff that I remembered and kept in the back of my head from when I was a kid. So the Rev has many fathers.
Um, and explain to me the coven of the goat idea. That's your stable.
Yes,
Um,
and so the
I,
character of the Rev is basically like a satanic preacher.
yeah,
It's kind of my cheeky little response to being raised in the southern United States in the Bible Belt, where there's a church on every corner, and I certainly don't have a problem with anybody who's religious or whatever. But some of the more like fundamentalist of those people who are really like hardcore into that, like made my life pretty fucking hard when I was growing
yeah.
up because I
Me
dared to be
too. Me
different,
too.
and so.
I got singled out in the classroom one time, and the teacher's like, because it's metalhead, and the teacher turns everyone on me and says he watched some Geraldo Rivera special that came out. And he's like, I'm really concerned for you and everything in front of the class. I went off on him. The whole satanic panic thing was just it was real.
Oh, very much so. And that was me, like in high school, because I like metal and horror movies and weird shit. I go, oh, you're a devil worshiper all the time by these fucking. A really hilarious story, Ozzy just passing, one of the great founding fathers of all dark art of any kind, whether it be movies,
Yes.
music, what have you. Um, in my 10th grade talent show, my band played NIB, and the
Nice. That's
fucking
my
crowd
favorite
loses
song.
their mind. Right? Oh,
That is
you
my
think it's your favorite song?
Yeah,
That fu-
my favorite Black Sabbath song.
that
Black
fucking
Sabbath's my
rule.
favorite band, period, because they started it all. They're the godfathers of metal, and well, it's debatable if they started it all because there was a band called Pentagram. I don't know if you're familiar with them. That
Oh
came
yeah.
out at the same time. So that sound that came out, though, I think is what formed everything about metal today.
Oh no, that's 100% fact. Without Sabbath, there's nothing. Like Sabbath is the foundation of everything. And they're also, if not my favorite band of all time, one of them. Like you almost have to by default give them the number one slot because nobody's done it better. But also I love a fucking lot of music. But anyway, so my band plays this song, like this crowd of very conservative Southern high school students in 1998, 97. Are losing their mind. They're moshing. They're going crazy. They're throwing babies in the air. We're like, oh, we got this on lock. And then the Fellowship of Christian Athletes came out and did a janky ass version of the Passion Play. And they ended up winning. They won the talent show over us. And that's when I knew it was all rigged.
Yeah, of course. That's a good one. So,
But yeah, so yeah, you're asking about the cover of the Ghost. See, I told you, I trail off. Okay.
oh, go ahead,
So
man.
yeah, so
I'm enjoying this.
the Rev's a response to a lot of that. It's just kind of my tongue in cheek, fun way of kind of like poking back. Like some people get super offended by it. Like it's really not meant to be that offensive. Like it's kind of supposed to be fun, but I think a lot of people don't get that. But whatever. Like it's me. It's authentically me. The Covenant of the Goat is just like an expansion of that. So like back in the day in NWA Anarchy, me and Tank had a stable called the Devil's Rejects that had Iceberg and Sean
Yes,
Tempers and Asriel. And that
yes.
had a pretty good run. Got written about in a couple of books over the recent years from that infamous War Games match we had in 2006 that a lot of people consider somehow one of the best of all time, which is awesome.
I would say it is one of the best matches I've seen.
Hell yeah.
I loved that era of NWA.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in those days. Raised a lot of hell, pissed off a lot of fans. We're bad guys then, we were heels in those
Yeah,
days. Like it's funny nowadays. I mean, it varies because this is always going to inspire a response in some people, but in most cases, like it's like the Road Warriors now when we come out, they're just love to see us kill people. But there was a time when they were trying to wait outside the building with knives and guns and attack us. It's a different
now
era.
that's real heat. That's real heat.
Yeah, we kind of got lucky, especially in the South in those days. It was still pretty insulated, even in 2006. So a lot of those people really still believed. And I mean, we did of course, after that cage match, the War Games that we talked about, we did the angle after we beat up the owner and sent him to the hospital in an ambulance, and the fans all went to the hospital. And then they had to sneak him out the back door. We're like, no, he's not taking visitors. Like, it was just an angle. But they believed, so hell yeah.
What you reminded me of is it's kind of a question too, is of Kevin Sullivan in back in the days of the Devil, Kevin Sullivan. Do you take any influence from him?
A little, yeah. I mean, like certainly without him kind of doing that in the first place, I don't think you got to pave the way for somebody like Jim Mitchell and then me to do it. And I didn't really get to know Kevin very well. I had a couple of brief conversations with him. I don't really know if he was a fan or a hater of my work. I don't really know that, but I had nothing but respect for him. And then, of course, Jim Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, is like actually a pretty good friend of mine. Like he's been very supportive over the years, and one of the guys that kind of helped me learn the art of managing the legendary Jeff G. Bailey is kind of like a brother to me. And Mitchell is his childhood best friend, so they grew up terrorizing the kids of some poor South Carolina neighborhood together. But so I got to know the Sinister Minister through him. And he's been just super cool to me for years and years and years and years.
You'll have to talk to him about coming on sometime. I chat with him every once in a while. He's a great guy.
Oh
He
yeah,
does like a karaoke thing or something now.
yes.
At
He
some
lives
place.
in sunny Florida and is basically he's just himself. But he hosts karaoke and has kind of made his living off of that outside of wrestling for a while, to my understanding.
That's interesting. So you have Tank in your stable. Who else is in your stable?
Tank is the connective tissue, right? Like
Yeah.
the Devil's Rejects was the original stable, and we came back. Tank and I both kind of retired 2017, 2018. We just kind of hit a point with wrestling. I've done a million other jobs in wrestling besides just being on screen character. I've worked in creative, producing, a bunch of shit over the years. And we both kind of hit a point of burnout around that time. And so we were like, okay, we're done with this. And there's only one company. The independents are kind of on their ass. We're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
And uh, so we come back in 2021 after COVID. We get bored, with all of the sitting around, and we come back after COVID, and we start just managing Tank as a single, and he has a run for like a year, 2 years, just as a single, and it goes pretty good. Um, and then I think I'm having some connectivity issues. I apologize.
Yeah. It's okay. It's back on.
Okay, good. All right. But yeah, so Tank is the connective tissue. So he was part of the Devil's Rejects. We did our return run as singles and thought this is fun, but this concept has always worked better as a group because, you can have your whole congregation. It's a whole cult. It can be scary. It can be fun. And the Devil's Rejects were very like serious and much more on the hardcore scary end of things. Like with the Coven of the Goat,
Right.
we're all those things, but we try to have a little more personality too. So now we have recruited the Killbilly Nathan Mowry, who is basically like the Tank is passing kind of the torch to him as the next deathmatch guy of the South. And the Killbilly is just fucking a maniac. He's one of my favorite people that I've ever gotten to manage. He and Tank are currently the TWE Tag Team Champions. And they're really the only two active members of the Coven, along with myself right now. The third is Jaden Newman, but he is on the shelf due to an ACL injury and will be out for most of 2026. So the 2026 Coven is looking like the trio of me, Tank, and Nathan for the most part, but that's okay. We've found plenty of success in consolidating efforts, and when Jaden's back, of course, he'll be welcome back into the fold.
Tell me about. Oh shoot, I forget his name right now. It slips my mind. I usually know it. Tell me about what's his name, Poon Daddy.
Oh, the Boondog.
The
Well, I
Poon
don't know who
Dog.
he is. He's a
Yeah.
mysterious individual.
He just
He's
pops up.
Yeah.
I see Tank disappear in the back. Something happens to him. Poon Daddy comes out, and he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. This guy, he's stealing Tank's gear. He's got this mask, and he comes out and just dances and humps people, but it
Yeah,
seems to get
it
over.
goes
So
over. It
they
goes
love
over
the Poon
big.
Dog. I don't know about him, but they love him.
Now I've seen you in ICW. Um, Mostly that's where I've seen you because where I'm at, I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. There's wrestling out here, which I'm gonna push in a little bit. But oh, we lost connection.
Still with me?
Okay, so we had difficulty there, but we're back. Um, so talking about Poon Dog. Don't know who he is. Don't know where he comes from. He humps everybody.
Yeah, he's a menace. I don't know. Well, one day we're gonna figure out the identity of that mysterious masked man.
So, how many different promotions do you go to now? I've seen you in a few. I can't recall all of them. I watch mostly on IWTV.
Brother, as many as will book us. Now, to be fair, like I've been doing this a long time, and I do have a family, and I do try to, strike that balance because it is sometimes difficult in this line of work when you're chasing the dragon of success, and you want to go after as many opportunities as possible. But of course, ICW No Holds Barred is kind of like where we're probably the best known from.
Yeah,
GCW as well.
that's
We've had a couple pretty featured spots at GCW, but like ICW was the company that kind of took a chance on us, bringing us back, and they used us. They were the second company to use us when we returned. The first was just this one-off show Tony Deppen ran in Florida, and then
oh nice.
ICW had us. The second that was WrestleMania weekend of 2021, and or 20. Yeah, it was 21, I think. Uh, So yeah, so we come back. ICW uses us. TWE in Chattanooga is a promotion we're both heavily involved in. That's our hometown promotion. We put on live events on IWTV once a quarter and taped events twice a month. And we're heavily in the mix. We're not on all the shows because we travel around and do other stuff. We've like I said, we've done ICW, Game Changer Wrestling in Alabama, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. And then we did Jersey Championship Wrestling up in Ridgefield Park last year. We worked for AEW twice last year. We did this event they did called Dean 2 in Glendale, Arizona in May. That was like a co-sponsor thing with Action Wrestling and Ring of Honor and the Segunda Caída blog. And then that went so well, they actually did a second one with them in Philadelphia in the fall, like September of last year, that we did that too. The first one is available. The second one, some things, thankfully, not our fault, but that didn't go so well in that match. So there were some things out of control. So it never ended up making it got left on the cutting room floor, which is probably a blessing for everyone involved. But we did enjoy those experiences, and would certainly hope to go back. Though we do love the creative freedom of the indies. Like I didn't even really think this kind of gimmick would even get any attention from a national company. There've been versions of it that we were kind of the first ones to do it. But there have been versions
Yeah,
of the scary satanic hillbilly cult in a number of promotions, but they're all pretty fucking watered down, compared to like the original Grindhouse film version, which was us. But
Well,
that's okay.
my opinion is some companies that I won't mention, they are trying it, but failing miserably from what I see. And I think it's because of the lack of them being able to be as creative as they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, when you're answering to $1 million advertisers, you can only go so far with something that is
Mhm.
not really designed to be, overly produced or well produced. Like, yes, there's a lot of effects and things in our promos and the things we put out, but it's all done in like a very gritty grindhouse DIY style. And that's because those are some of our favorite types of movies, and it's also what we can do, what we're capable of, budget wise. So
Yeah, that's what I like, and that's why on this podcast I mostly focus on the indies because there's a lot to me. There's a lot more heart involved, a lot more creative freedom. You see things that you're not going to see with the big two on TV, um, and I mean, it just you can tell there's more heart to it.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I help on the creative end at TWE and help coach a lot of the young wrestlers. Like, I donate my time twice a fucking month at TWE to go just watch the crash course shows that we put on, which are like, there used to be student showcase shows. It was kind of how they started, where like and that was inspired by something we did at Wildside back in the day, which was the Funtabulous Friday Night series, which was like basically an open mic night. We were just like, whoever the fuck, if you were trying to get into Wildside, you wanted us to see you, this was your chance. If you were just trying to get reps, nobody's getting paid, but you can come up and have a match and we'll give you some feedback. And that's what we did. So I kind of brought that concept back with the help of Dylan Hales and Jaden Newman at TWE. And we do that twice a month now. So I mean, I don't get paid anything to go down there and just give my 30 almost fucking years of knowledge to these people, but I do it because I love wrestling and I have a passion for it. I want the scene to be better and I want the people around me to be better. And the only way you do that is by like sharing your knowledge. Like, I've been fortunate to do a lot of shit in wrestling and meet pretty much all of my heroes. I got to fucking be a part of a goddamn Hall of Fame induction ceremony where Sting and Ric Flair went into a Hall of Fame that I was already in. Like, I recognize that I've got to do a lot of cool shit, but that don't mean nothing. That don't mean dick if you don't share it with the people around you and like pass that knowledge on, because otherwise it fucking dies.
Exactly, and what's your opinion of where the indies are at now and where they're going? I because I'm pretty positive about it, but you being involved so much with the indies, what are you seeing lately?
I have a directly opposite opinion of what a lot of people say, on the internet, which are like, oh, the indies are dying. Because, like, I mean, it sucks when you see a lot of companies drop like flies, like Deadlock Pro and Prestige, and a lot of these deathmatch companies are going under. And it sucks because it's a place for guys to work, and like, and I get kind of why people would say, "Oh, the indies are dying because of this," but I have been through this so many fucking times, and let me tell you, they're not dead. They're never going to be dead. In fact, there is some of the best young, hungry talent I've ever been around in all my years in this wrestling right now on the indies. And if you just got to know where to look, like, I mean, I'm sorry that the favorite promotions of yours went out of business, but that didn't stop all these badass wrestlers from still going out there and finding somewhere to work. And there's a lot of really kick-ass promotions. TWE is one of them. Wink, wink. You should go check that out on
Yeah,
IWTV. But there's
definitely.
a lot of cool
And
shit going on the indies.
I plug IWTV all the time, and I urge everybody. get IWTV for your indies because there's hundreds of promotions on there, hundreds, and real quality ones. My favorite right now is ICW. I like H2O a lot. I don't know what's going on with them. I heard they were going under,
They did,
but
at least for now. So they went out of business the end of last year, or at least were taking a hiatus. They left their building in Williamstown, New Jersey. There was brief talk of them coming to Chattanooga to relocate because Matt loves our town and just kind of wanted to be down here. But things
yeah,
happened up there. I don't think that ended up working out. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for them, so like, don't quote me on any of that. But to my knowledge, he's still up in New Jersey. So will H2O return one day up there? Maybe. He's always open to run a show at the TWE building, like we had talked about. We love Matt Tremont. He has been a friend of mine for many, many years. Has been an advocate for me and Tank on the Indies. He grew up watching Wildside up in Philadelphia on the old WGTW network, and he has seen it's like his favorite wrestling show of all time, that and ECW. And so Matt has always had a pretty high status on the Indies, and he's never been afraid to put a hand out and speak up for us. And he's one of the greatest fucking independent wrestlers, death matcher, not of all time. So I love and appreciate Matt Tremont dearly.
yes, he's up there with me, and everyone I hear and talk to, they have nothing but good things to say about him. So I believe in him. I believe whatever he gets involved with is going to go over. He knows what he's doing.
One of the cool, I'll plug something pretty cool right now. Speaking of Matt Tremont, one of the coolest things we've gotten to do in wrestling ever was involved Matt. We did the first ever deathmatch horror movie, and it was feature length, it's over an hour, called The Death of, and IWTV produced it. And it's this whole like horror movie about the story of the Matt Tremont versus Cruel feud. And like Matt Tremont's like basically the Ash of like Evil Dead, going to the woods to fight this fucking horror monster, and like Cruel is like killing people along the way. And of course they come to find out that me and the Coven of the Goat have arranged this unholy consecrated spot where they can have their Clash of the Immortals on Halloween night. And it's fucking awesome. You should definitely go check it out.
I'm going to check it out.
It is free on YouTube now, too, by the way. It's on
Oh, is
IWTV as
it?
well, but they dropped it free on YouTube this Halloween.
And mention what it's called again to our listeners.
The Death of.
The Death of IWTV and YouTube. And if anybody wants to follow you and see more of your work, or they're new, and I urge you to see Reverend Dan Wilson's work. It's quite unique. Very theatrical, and it puts a lot of fun in wrestling.
I appreciate it. I try to do something different. I do kind of come from the basis of like the traditional wrestling promo. Like I'm skilled enough that if you just give me a microphone and a topic, I can just go out there and rant for 5 minutes. But I like to take a little bit of extra care with stuff, and especially since combining forces with the Killbilly Nathan Mowry, who's an award-winning videographer. The motherfucker has a gold record
Oh
for
wow!
yeah, he directed the Judas video for Fozzy.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. So he's got a gold record for that, and like he's won awards for a bunch of documentaries and shit he's made. He's just an incredibly talented guy, and me and him are like creative twins of evil. So me and him get to just bouncing ideas off of each other back and forth, and like Nathan more often than not makes them come to life in a much bigger way than I can, just because of his skills. But having him as a creative partner has been so refreshing, and one of the things that's made this Coven of the Goat era special, and truly something different and another like evolution from what the Devil's Rejects were, because like we do take a lot of care with the promos and things, and we're actually working on a cool new project that's going to take a little bit closer dip behind the scenes of things that we're hoping to release next year. I can't really talk much about it, but yeah, me and the Killbilly as a creative force, and like, I don't want to rule out Tank either. He's got some pretty good ideas too, sometimes for promos and stuff as well, because he's a big horror movie buff and shit. But also for wrestling, Tank is a brilliant wrestling mind. Like if I need a finish, like he's the guy I'm fucking going to. Like he's got an encyclopedia of them up here. This motherfucker's been wrestling for 30 years. So yeah, no, I'm in
I
good
know,
company.
and he keeps going, and it's like he doesn't skip a beat in the ring.
Yeah, no, excuse me. Getting over a little bit of a cold there, and about choked to death on a drink of water. But anyway, yeah, Tank is he's incredible. The fact that he's still going, we don't know how much more he's got in the tank. You know, the pun intended. Like he recognizes that Father Time is knocking on his door. He's like 54 years old now, I think 53. Um, he knows he's probably not going to be able to do this a whole lot longer. So this year in particular, he's got a few goals he's really trying to cross off. I'm not coming out and saying it's going to be his last year, because I don't think he even knows that. But he knows the time is short. So if I'm telling you, promoters, if you want to use Tank, you better get in on it this year, because every year that passes, the guarantee of him still being around is less and less, because like I said, he's beating up his body for 30 plus years, and he's done a good job taking care of himself. He wouldn't have lasted that long, but like he's done all these death matches and all of this stuff, and he's over 300 pounds, and he travels, and he's got to cram in these fucking airplanes and cram in these fucking cars, and he's just not gonna be able to do it forever. So I'm just telling you, like if you want to book Tank, you better get on it. He's hoping, really, like the one major thing he really hasn't, because he's worked for every major promotion at least once, even if it was just like an extra thing for WWE. He really just wants to go to Japan. Like that's really the only goal he has left. Like we got flown out twice by AEW last year. Like worked for the other major company. Check that off the list. He really hopes to go to Japan this year. So fingers crossed that happens. Like that, I would love to see that happen more than anything.
I could see him in DDT easily. I think that would be one to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, he got offered a tour. I won't name the promotion, a couple years ago, and the terms were just not great. Like he was like kind of disappointed with what he was offered, because it's like but hopefully maybe something better comes along the pike, or I don't know. It didn't work out for him in that time. Like, but hopefully this time it will.
Okay. Do you have anything to tell the fans and people who I'm introducing you to that is coming up soon, that they can see your work and see what we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me on social media. Instagram is the best way to find me, at Rev Dan Wilson. That is where I'm actually probably the most active on socials. It's the only one, and it's starting to get there too. But at least for now, it's one of the only social medias that hasn't turned into just an AI infested hellhole full of bots and rage baiters and fucking hate farmers and fucking Nazis. But so I'm on Instagram, so you can find me there. You can find me on Twitter too. I'm at Rev Dan Wilson, and I do post on there occasionally, but man, it's just more depressing every day to log on to that app. So that is where most of the wrestling conversation happens, though, and I hate it.
Yeah, Twitter's the worst. I appreciate you coming on. You're fun to talk to, and I wish you the best in everything you do, and I'll be following you. And
hell yeah, man!
Your matches anytime I can.
I appreciate it.
I just got Yeah, no problem. And I just got a few things. Mention my producer, my wife, Mims Haven. She helps me out tremendously with this cast. If you want to get a hold of me, it's on Twitter. It's Wrestling Talk STG. Facebook, it's just Stagger Lee. You can also join our group, Unscripted Violence Pro Wrestling Talk. Um, we are a partner with W Energy, and it's www.w.gg. Um, they have all types of energy drinks with no jitter energy drinks. They have things similar to Gatorade, which is a lot cheaper. You buy a tub of this, it's a hydrating drink. It's really good stuff. So I encourage you to maybe start with their sampler pack. Uh, and also, uh, we'd like to do a shout out to X Brand Wrestling. Um, we follow them quite a bit. They were kind of in a partnership with them, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And I'll mention to them to get you on. I'll see what I can say to them.
I think I
And
believe Nathan worked
got a
for them
couple.
once already. I think Nathan worked for them once, and I think there is a connection there already. So, but yeah, appreciate it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Couple of local shows coming up uh, with the Lucha Project. Their shows are a lot of fun. They have live bands and things. I'm just looking for their info. Anyways, I'll put it in the comments below, and you can click on them, check them out. Um, and I think I pretty much mentioned everybody. So once again, Reverend Dan Wilson. If you haven't seen him, check him out. Go on IWTV. Go to a lot of the hardcore ones. Like you said, ICW, NHB. They're on there quite a bit. You get to see some excellent deathmatch wrestling that you can't get anywhere else. Till then, uh, we'll tell you good night and always keep wrestling in your heart.